So Ty Lue's stress level, honestly, really has just went up when you think about everything that's right in front of us. Now, of course, it's only been one game with James Harden, so it's hard to really make too much out of it. But at the same time, as I said in my previous video, there's some things that's going to forecome with the Clippers that they're going to have to really figure out. And the one thing I didn't mention, in the last video where Ty Lue's stress level is going to go up even more is what is he going to do with James Harden and Russell Westbrook? And what I mean by that is, when we think about who should be starting, who should be the point, who should have the ball in their hands, and who's more valuable as a starter and who's more valuable with the second unit, when you think about it, it's a very, very conundrum type situation. Because when you think about the situation in its entirety, you have to figure out as a coach who gives you the better chance to win as a starter, who gives you a better chance to win as a second unit guy, as I said. And to me, it's going to be hard for Ty Lue to really figure this out, because when you think about Russ being in the starting lineup, yeah, he may not be as better a greatest passer as James Harden is. James Harden's more natural with his passing. He doesn't have to force it. It looks like when James Harden passed, it looked like he's just naturally good at it. I mean, when you see the pick and roll with James Harden, that's worked throughout his career because he does it so well. I mean, when he does the pick and roll, it looks like he's not even it looks like he's doing a no-look pass sometime when he does a pick and roll. It looks so effortless the way he does it because it's like he's a natural passer. When you look at Russ, sometimes Russ forces some of his passes. Sometimes they get there. A lot of times they don't. And that's the crazy part. That's the hard part about it, that Ty Lue is going to be stressed out over. And on top of that, when you think about Russ being in the starting lineup, he can't give you the passes as smooth, as on time or something like that, maybe as James Harden does, but he gives you more effort and tenacity on defense. Even though Russ is not really a good defender, he gives you more energy on defense. And that's where I think James Harden doesn't favor the Clippers. And I think that could be a futuristic problem for the Clippers if they decide to keep James Harden inserted in the starting lineup, because you're missing that defense. And I kind of touched on this in my last video as well. But that's one of the problems that I see, and that's going to be a stressful point for Ty Lue to really figure out what does he need to do, because you got one player in James Harden who's more offensively inclined because he can step back, he can stretch the floor by shooting threes at a high percentage. He definitely would be a great catch and shoot guy, just to spread the floor. And then on top of that, you got Russ. He can't shoot as well as James Harden. Well, right now he is. Technically, right now he's shooting pretty good from the three-point line early in the season. But it'll all pan out as the season goes on. But my point is, you got a guy in Russ who really can't shoot as good as James Harden, but he plays a lot harder than James Harden. He plays with more effort than James Harden. And see, that's the thing. And that's what's going to stress Ty Lue out the most, because he wants to give both of them substantial minutes. He wants to give both of them time to go out there and do their thing and play at the highest level. And, Paul George mentioned, that it's only one basketball. We all have to sacrifice. And that's what Ty Lue told them. And if they do that, he'll help lead them to where they're trying to go. And that's definitely, a good thing, but at the same time, it's easier said than done. And that's why I said Ty Lue's going to have the ultimate stress, because one player in Russ gives you more energy and effort. The other player is just more effortless in how they play. And a lot of times when you're trying to win championships, you need the guy that gives you the energy and effort a lot more than the guy who's just way more talented or does things more effortless. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, they went out and did all this to go get James Harden. So it would be kind of messed up, I guess, if they didn't, let James Harden be the player that they went out to get him to be for this team. So, I mean, I definitely understand that. And that's the reason why I said Ty Lue's stress level is going to go up a lot higher, because he's really going to have to figure out and really going to have to make a sacrifice himself in regards to who needs to be in the starting lineup, who needs to handle the ball, and how we're going to distribute this one basketball amongst 4-star players. It's just the way it is. And then on top of that, Kawhi is still being the best player. You got to make sure that, he's happy with what he's getting, and you got to allow him to, take over games and put the ball in his hands in crucial moments, or if not his hands, then, PG, of course. But, it's all going to start with that. And like I said, this is a situation that Ty Lue, loved to be in, because they wanted James Harden and they went through all the loops and channels to get him. But now the hard part is here. The fun part is here. Ty Lue's going to have to figure out how to get the best out of all four of these players and win a championship with this team. Because honestly, like I said, if this doesn't result in the championship, I mean, you want to talk about an ultimate failure. I mean, you thought people were talking bad about the Clippers the last couple years because of their failures. They were talking bad about the Clippers because they got hurt. They weren't even talking bad about the Clippers because they weren't good enough to win it. The people talk bad about the Clippers and Kawhi and PG was hurt. I mean, if you're going to talk bad about a team, at least talk bad about a team who was out there, who gave it their all, and they just won't, good enough or something like that. And, and say that. But they talk about the Clippers like they never got hurt and they just completely are not better than a lot of these other teams. And that's just the way the media paints them because they want to paint the Lakers, in a higher and in a better advantage. They want to look at them in a better light. And I understand that if you're a Lakers fan or if you're a whatever fan or whoever team you are. But at the same time, to be fair to this team, they've been criticized so much because of injuries. If they lose or don't make the finals or win the finals this year with all four of these star players, the media is going to tear this team in half, worse than they ever have. So, I mean, the Clippers got to find a way, and Ty Lue's going to have to find a way to get the best out of these guys and have to make everybody understand that there's sacrifices to be made. And the biggest one is going to be that point guard position because, see, then you got to ask questions about if James Harden is the primary ball handler hypothetically going forward. Once Ty Lue really figure out who fits best and who fits where, then where does that leave Terrence Mann? You know what I'm saying? Terrence Mann doesn't really have any chemistry that much with James Harden. There's going to be times where, he's going to be asked to play with James Harden and really don't have that chemistry. And then you're going to have chemistry issues with certain guys on the floor because it's going to be hard for it all to gel is what I'm saying if Ty Lue doesn't put everybody in the right place. And I'm not sure if Ty Lue is going to do that because, like I said, at times he could be stubborn and want something to work so bad one way he doesn't alter his decisions or make better adjustments that I think that he can make. So, like I said, a lot of this is going to really depend on Ty Lue and his decision making of how everybody is going to be and what position they're going to be in, so everybody can get the best output from each other on the floor. Because, as I said before, they don't have any chemistry, they don't have anything right now, but they really shouldn't have lost to the Knicks, regardless of having chemistry or not. You got 4 star players on the floor. The Knicks is not a team you should lose to with that type of star power. You should have won that game technically off of talent. You shouldn't have to win. You shouldn't have to win or beat a team like the Knicks, off of chemistry. You could just beat a team like that off of your talent. You know what I'm saying? Because you just have a superior team. And like I said, with James Harden in the lineup, defense is going to suffer a little bit more. And like I said, Russ is not the best defender himself, but he plays with more effort and things like that on defense. And that goes a long way when you're trying to win championships. And I understand, some people might think that James Harden would be better as a ball handler. And at times I would think that he would be too. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a split down the middle with these two on your team. But it's really going to be a headache for Ty Lue to really figure out how to get the best out of everybody. And the main person who's going to have to sacrifice really is going to have to be him, because he's going to have to sacrifice his pride and make sure he puts the right product on the floor so PG and Kawhi can still thrive at their level of how they're supposed to play. Because remember, they're still the best players on the team. So, I mean, you can't take away a lot of their offense just to appeal to James Harden because you did so much to get him. And then you don't want to take too much away from Russ, his responsibilities. Otherwise, he might not be playing the same, or otherwise he might feel like he's back with the Lakers and might not really pan out the way you want him to. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's going to be a tough outing for Ty Lue more than anything. His headaches are going to continue, and his stress level is going to continue to go higher, unless he figures things out and really put them into place. And then on top of that, you got to hope everybody stays healthy too. So that's another thing. But hey, it's a job for him. He getting paid the big bucks, so he has to make the better decisions. And the Clippers' outcome, a lot of it's going to depend on his coaching. But hey, this is my take on everything. You leave any comments, and we'll talk about it.